and your loved ones at sanjuanregional.com or the COVID-19 information line at 505-516-0938 or 888-949-5387. San Juan Regional Medical Center, caring for the Four Corners since 1910. Ten minutes past 8 o'clock. It's Tuesday morning, everybody, March 31st. Good morning. I'm Scott Michlin. Thank you for tuning in to KSJE 90.9 FM over the air here in San Juan County, 103.3 FM over the air in Durango, Colorado, and of course we're streaming everywhere from our website at KSJE.com. Special good morning also to our viewers who are watching us live this morning on the KSJE Facebook page and YouTube channel. Welcome to you. We're glad that you are with us. Coming up this morning, my conversation with Dr. Mizell, Superintendent of Bloomfield Schools. That's going to be starting in the next few moments, so stay tuned for that, everyone. Later on this hour, we'll check in with the Farmington Regional Animal Shelter, as we do on Tuesdays, and show you some of the pets available for adoption this week, including the dog on the screen that you see right there. That is Maddie, and she is ready for her forever home. We'll talk about that at 8:50 this morning right here on KSJE. Then at 9 a.m., don't forget online, it's our local community information program about coronavirus, COVID-19. That is on YouTube and Facebook at 9 a.m. Megan Cullip is my co-host. We'll be talking about a lot of different things coming up this morning. An update, of course, on some of the things that have made news overnight. And then we'll have some guests calling in as well. And maybe you'll call in, too. We'll open the phone lines. So join us for that this morning at 9 a.m. on KSJE. On the radio, Mick Hess will take us roving with the arts at 9:06. Today, Mick is playing more Bach cantatas for us on the program. So that's on the radio at 9 a.m. on KSJE. Don't forget, of course, in addition to Facebook and YouTube, connect with us on Twitter and check us out on Instagram as well. Our weather forecast, a mostly sunny day today across the Four Corners. Today's high 65 in Farmington, 38 overnight tonight. Partly sunny skies tomorrow with a high of 68 and a low of 40. It's going to be windy on Thursday with a high of 67 and a low of 33. Sunshine again on Friday, but cooler with a high of 60. Then a pretty nice weekend, highs of 68 on Saturday and Sunday with lots of sunshine. Well, let me turn to my guest who was here with me this morning. Dr. Kim Mizell is here from the Bloomfield School District. Dr. Mizell, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for coming in this morning and getting out of the house. I'm glad you're here.
Yes, thank you for having me.
You bet. The question, of course, to all of our educators is, have you ever seen anything like this? I mean, this is unprecedented, isn't it?
Never in my lifetime, that's for sure.
Right. A lot of change.
Yes, it's just such a uncharted territory for all of us, and we're struggling just like everyone else to figure out what we're going to do. And basically, our goal is to support our students and our community as a school district. So that's what we're trying to do. And
that is what you have been doing, I know, since all this started. Of course, we had spring break, and as we were talking before, it seems like before spring break and after spring break, and the two worlds are completely a lot different.
Yes. I was making plans to take a trip with my sisters and my mother to go out of town, and shortly that got canceled as of Friday right before spring break, and then I was on the phone literally the entire time with the State Department trying to figure out how we're going to feed our students over spring break. So we didn't have food available, and we had to have food brought in by the National Guard in order to do the food distribution. Also, we had to call in the employees that had gone on vacation.
On their spring break,
yes,
right?
On their spring break,
okay.
Which was our bus drivers, our student nutrition. Maintenance was still working because we had to clean all our facilities and get the grounds ready. But it was quite an effort and concentrated effort of all parties involved. Our student nutrition, they all stepped up, and the bus drivers, and we feel we really have supported our community in that way. And I thought, really, would the families really not planned over spring break to have food? But I was amazed that first day that, quite a few families waited for the buses, and people came and picked up meals. And now we're serving close to 1,800 meals a day.
Wow.
And so it's increased quite a bit, and there is a need, and I'm glad that we were able to fill that need.
That's a big part of a lot of these conversations I'm having with the school superintendents about the nutrition program. And for a lot of your students, of course, getting food at school is important for them and to help them learning and things like that. And when there's no school, they may not have access to a nutritious meal, maybe 2 meals a day. And so that's what you've been filling, is that need.
Right. And we're 100% free and free lunch and breakfast.
Throughout the district.
Throughout the district. So our families are used to literally only feeding their kids one time a day. When you think about it.
Right.
You know, so it may not be in their budgets at this, you know, with the surprise notice of how things occurred. And so realizing that, you know, that I'm glad that we were able to meet that need, and we will continue to feed the students and do the bus stop drop-offs through the end of school.
Right, and that was another thing I know that the district's kind of adopted, was to using your buses to take the food out to the district, not make your families come to pick them up at certain locations.
Right. I was just really concerned, especially south of Bloomfield. Our kids, there is no way they could get to a distribution center to get a meal. And so... Because
remember, everybody, right, Bloomfield Schools, your district goes
they live
far...
60 minutes out. They live all the way out to Liebrook.
That's as far south as your district goes, right? Mm-hmm. So that's a long trip.
And then about 15 to 20 miles in from 550.
Either direction, that's
right.
Either
direction. So the prospects for them was pretty bad, and I went ahead and took a bus drive with the bus driver that goes out to Nageezi, and her name is Sarah Taylor. And
shout out, Sarah Taylor.
Sarah Taylor. She knows everybody. We call her the mayor of Nageezi. And she called the family, said the bus is coming. You know, they would be waiting for us. But the one day I went, we had snow out there. And it was so muddy they couldn't even get to the bus stop.
Wow.
So my anxiety about it got even higher, just with concern for the students. And one young lady, she really did break my heart. She had walked about 1.5 miles in the mud and snow to try to get to the bus stop, but she couldn't even get there because it was so slick. Every step you took, she would slide and fall. And she was about my daughter's age, I would say high school student, and she was crying. And that realization, you know, hit home for me as far as the superintendent and what the families do to get their kids to school, you know, where they live. I mean, I'm sure they like where they live because they have their families and their little communities out there, but it's a difficult scenario for many of them. And so I'm glad that we were able to meet that need. Right.
And thank you for sharing that story, because we don't always think about those types of individual challenges when we hear about some of the things that are being done during this time. It's just been, again, unprecedented. So
well, and fuel is a problem. We had, and I wish we had pictures of it, we had people picking up the lunches on horseback. People don't understand.
Right.
You know,
but
that's a reality for those families, you know, and they're saving gas. They're riding their horses out there, and
the horses could probably deal with the mud better than I could, for sure, and a car could. So
right, and so we were trying to capture a picture of it, but that one day was kind of a unique scenario. But we got a lot of support from even the community members out in Nageezi and Morphinell and towards Escrito. They actually, the ones that had 4-wheel drive, came and got the meals and took them back to the community families out there. So I really appreciate that support, and it's quite the coordination when you think about it, and it's just a realization for all of us, you know, that the need is out there, and we've got to do what we can to support the families.
Sure, and a lot of folks on your staff I know who stepped up to make sure this all happened, right?
I have
within
days. Amazing staff, amazing people that are working for Bloomfield, and I said it's the heart of the community, and we really are, and the people that are working for the district are the heart of the district. I have an amazing cabinet that's been working tirelessly trying to figure out how we're going to do the online programs. We put something in place before we left. We sent out packets to all of our lower grade levels so the parents had activities for them to do. And then we also put online different access for our different software programs that the students could access and continue learning. Now we're going to step it up another level where the teachers are prepping and preparing the online venue and then also packets. So, and what we're doing is we're doing it all virtually, and then everything that they create and put together will be able to put into packets for each grade level. And our local grocery store farmers market has always, they've offered numerous times to help feed, help everything, and I've called on them, and they're putting a shelf out at farmers market for us to put all the educational materials available for all the kids and families, because they have to go to the grocery store. They can pick them up there.
Right.
And so we're going to be starting that April 13th. So
Okay.
we'll have it ready for them.
Good to know. And that opens up another line of questions from me to you about your students, your families, and online access. I guess what this has showed us is that not everybody has access to the internet, even though we think that everybody does. But especially in our county, we have a rural county, and once you get outside of the 4 cities, internet connectivity is maybe a challenge in some places. And so with your district, I imagine that's true as well.
I have really struggled with this because I know that, in fact, we have data showing that with the parents that we have in our district, about 50% of them have email. So there's another 50% that don't have internet, don't have email, that are not utilizing the technology that's available, or they can't.
Or they can't, right?
They can't.
Right. And it may not be because they don't want to.
It's one thing to give them a computer, but if they don't have internet, what's the point? They can't utilize the technology. Right. So,
and it may not be because they don't want to. They just don't have service available where they live.
Many places don't have service.
Right.
I think a lot of them do have phones, and so we're trying to make sure that what they do get, they can look at through their phone if the students have a cell phone. But we're talking elementary children as well. So that's why we're doing the two ways of getting materials for kids
the packets,
out there. Packets,
more paper, pen.
I couldn't work around it any other way.
Sure.
And that's our reality for many of the schools that have children that live on the reservation. That is going to be their big challenge in how they're going to distribute it. I didn't want to send it on the buses and stuff because our bus drivers and student nutrition people are already taxed. They have been working so hard, and I just thought adding another layer of something else that they have to do would overwhelm that group in particular.
Sure.
We're small but mighty.
Right.
But
right.
I feel like the farmers market might be the solution because they're going to go buy groceries probably, and they have to get stuff. And a lot of the people that live south of Bloomfield, they shop there. So.
And you were telling me that your teachers are trying to at least make contact with all of your families to maybe even, I guess, ask them right out, what's your connectivity? Do you have access? Those types of questions, right?
We're having them complete a survey once they contact students in their classrooms to talk to the families and find out what they do have available, so that we'll have a better sense of what we have to basically triage with this process.
Right. I've heard maybe in some other districts they may be sending things out maybe on a flash drive, but again, if you don't have a computer at your house, that flash drive is not going to be very helpful.
No.
So there's that.
We also have bought 20 hotspots, and our main priority are those seniors that need to graduate and are on programs for credit recovery that we use. So we're reaching out to them and figuring out how we can get them a device and possibly set up hotspot locations for them to access what they need to do to get their credits. They have until June 19th to complete. We are, with the other students, we are going to do a grade cutoff. We extended our third quarter an extra 2 weeks for students to get anything in or to improve their grade upon where they were at. And then we're going to cut that off, and that will be their grade for the semester. Otherwise, I couldn't figure out how to do the pass or fail scenario with GPAs and everything that you need to do, especially for high school students. That's a crucial thing for them with college acceptance and So I think the cleanest way to do it is to go ahead and do that cutoff.
That was another possibility, I guess, that was proposed, was doing maybe pass-fail for class grades from this shortened
Right.
school year. But
Right.
as you mentioned, there are other issues when you do that, too.
Right.
And you mentioned your seniors, and I know that you've already been in contact with them and their families, so this isn't new to them. But for others, I mean, this is something that these seniors need, maybe credits to graduate, a GPA maybe to apply for colleges and things like that for the
Right.
fall. And so all this is also part of the
Really,
conversation you have to have.
Yeah, it impacts a lot of their futures, basically. So you have to be careful.
Right.
Excuse me. And we know that we have about 17 kids that we really have to focus in on to do an accelerated program for them. And so those are the ones we're in contact with and trying to figure out, like the hotspot scenario, giving them a Chromebook to finish up from home, things like that. So, and it's not that many, which we're very fortunate in Bloomfield. But as far as the other students, they're going to be responsible for their own learning and getting online in contact. The teachers will have office hours and be available to explain any work that they have sent home. But we won't be taking grades or anything like that.
Right. My guest this morning, Bloomfield School Superintendent Dr. Kim Mizell, is here with me talking about the changes for the Bloomfield School District, of course, with this shortened school year. And so I imagine the PED, the Public Education Department, is behind all of these efforts, and they're pushing some of these out. They understand what a crazy school year this has turned into for every district in the state, and you're
Right.
getting some guidance from them, and they are, I guess, not holding you to those school hour requirements and things like that?
No, that has been waived.
Yeah.
The instructional hours
That's
have
what
been waived.
that's the term I was trying to think of.
Yes, they waived that. And then also teacher evaluation, we're on the tail end of finishing up those. Those have been waived this year. There's just, and they have provided some guidance with a continual educational plan. Learning plan is what they're calling, continuous learning plan. And we've completed ours. We're in the final revision stages of what, in theory, we're going to try to do. As you know, every time there's going to be issues no matter what we do with implementing something to this extent. And it's something that we are not well versed in, per se, running school from a distance and virtually through online programs. So
Right. It's a brave
it's
new
a
world
big
for you
learning
and your
curve
staff.
for all of us, and it will be for the families and the students. So it's really just to enrich. And I did hear yesterday on a superintendent's call and I think it's really important that families hear this, that Albuquerque has put together through Public Broadcasting Systems, PBS, every morning for 4 hours they will have instruction for first through fifth grade. An hour block for each grade level, and they're staggering, like language arts will be Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then math will be Tuesday, Thursday. And so I'd like to encourage families to tune into that, because we do feel that most families have TV or television or some form of, and so they could get some learning opportunity that way.
So that's Channel 5
Channel 5
out of Albuquerque. And so again, I think they have a translator up here. So even if you have over the air a good old fashioned antenna,
Yes.
you should have access to
Right.
Channel 5.
Right, and so I was excited to hear that. I contacted the superintendent to get the schedule. I hope to be posting that on our website and make that available to the families.
Great. Well, again, it is really, it's amazing to me all the creativity that we're seeing coming out of all of this from just from school districts and families, parents who are coming up with other ideas. I know there's been lots of suggestions on online learning, and again, if you have access to the internet, you have all these resources at your fingertips. But if you don't, it's a bit more of a challenge, I think, and you have to get a bit more thinking out of the box to figure this out.
I think when you're talking equity,
Right.
this really demonstrates that we have a problem in our state.
True.
Honestly.
Right.
When
And when you say equity, we want to make the same opportunities available to
For
everyone,
everyone.
and that doesn't just mean everybody can get this information, but what are the
Right.
other situations that they
Right.
encounter?
And there's, we have the have and the have-nots scenario. Where Farmington's well situated, they've had this technology in their system for a while. They have the capability, whereas Bloomfield does not.
Right.
It's just, and I think it's something that we really have to look at, and it's something that a lot of the districts that are dealing with it have been kind of crying out, saying, and that's part of that. There's that large lawsuit called the Yazzie Martinez lawsuit,
Right.
That our state needs to acknowledge the concerns. The thing is, when I was in conversation with the State Department, was that, well, we're thinking about buying you Chromebooks. What I found out is you can't even get them right now.
Right. If
In
you could buy
China.
them, if you could write a check, you couldn't get them.
Can't get them.
That's right.
And so a little more forward planning in the future, I guess. Our district has considered doing that, but we just don't have the funding to do it right now. So
Right.
that's where we're at.
And again, in a perfect world, you have your computer labs, you have computers in your schools that students can use, and they're trained on, they're tested on them, and all these different things. It just in this new environment, if you can't gather 20 kids in a classroom anymore, now it becomes
Right.
an issue of, can you send them home? Do you have them to do that? And you don't have enough computers for everybody. That's the issue. So that's part of the problem.
So that's where we're at. We're struggling with that part.
Yeah.
And some of it, you have to put aside your anxieties, I guess. And I think that's what I would tell families and everybody. It's going to be okay. Everything has to run its course. And let's hope this gets done with pretty quick, because I think we're all ready for it to be over. I have been on tremendous information overload myself, with the amount of information flowing through the State Department and coronavirus, the emergency management plans, just tons of information. And sometimes it's good to just turn off your TV and do something else, and not be overwhelmed with the nature of this whole virus. It's too overwhelming for everyone, I think.
I hear you, and I understand that, and I think that's a great piece of advice. And I know some other folks would say maybe the positive things of this, if there are any, is that we've kind of been looking inward at our families and what's important, and spending time with each other, and getting away from the screens, and doing exactly as you suggest. And I think that maybe if there is a positive part of all of this, that is one of them.
Yeah, my daughter, who's a 16-year-old, she figured out what she needed. She went to Dollar General and bought every kind of art supply you can think of, and she has been crafting and painting, and I've never seen her so creative. And she's been cooking, and it's a whole nother side of her that I'm appreciating, and I've been joining in with some of it, but I think I had to go buy that two-sided tape I don't know how many times, because she has crafted she scrapbooked her entire life up to this date, I think. And so I
Probably
think
something she'd wanted to do for a long time.
something I wanted to
get
do.
caught
I
up
just
on, right?
hadn't had time. We went and developed all the pictures, and yeah, so it's been a good thing for us. But I worry about the teenagers and the younger generation. They're very socially oriented, but they're used to using technology for that. So I don't think she feels terrible. She does want to go outside a lot, and I'm kind of preventing her from doing that, just because I don't want her to get something, and I don't want her to give it to someone,
Sure.
or bring it home.
Right.
And so I'm being extra cautious, but I think their way of communicating will keep them healthy, as far as how they text, Instagram, whatever they're doing, FaceTime.
Right. And so, Dr. Mizell, as we have just a few minutes remaining this morning, as you look, I guess, ahead to next month, as things kind of wrap up, you mentioned that you've extended the semester by a couple of weeks for your students to kind of, if they needed to do some work or turn in some stuff or whatever, and then get those final grades for the whole school year, I guess, turned in early.
Right.
And then the work will begin on the fall. Is that the idea then? Is what you hope to happen?
No, what we're going to continue to do, in Bloomfield, we have our pacing guide that's set up where we pretty much have taught the critical standards up to the third quarter.
Okay.
Because in the past, that's when they have their testing, everything's... So
this is right in the middle of testing season, isn't it?
You had to get it all done, right? So most of this information that we'll be sending out will be more of a review, or things that we found in our interim assessments that the kids needed more support in. Maybe they didn't do as well as we would have liked. So we're re-emphasizing those standards. And that's what we're bringing out for the fourth quarter. It's kind of more of a review scenario, and hopefully to reinforce some of the maybe the test prep for some of the high school kids that they need to be cemented in when they take the SAT or ACT in the summer, because I think they're going to bring that back to take in the summer, hopefully, that those kids get to take that test
Right.
for college entrance. I've heard that some of the colleges are waiving it this year. So it would be good for them to have that review and just refresh their memory on some of the practices that they've learned over a 4-year period in high school. So in all the other grade levels, it's the same basic principle that we will be doing review. We don't want to put the parents in the role of trying to feed their family, survive the situation, and teaching it all at the same time. Hopefully the kids should be able to do the work that we're sending out independently.
I see.
So that's the goal.
That's how it's designed, and what your hopes are.
Right.
And again, it's kind of either going to be electronic or these packets that you'll make
Right.
available. And I know you've already messaged that to your families
Right.
through the district.
We put that on the webpage, but we're also mailing out a letter with a question, FAQ, basically, questions and answers. For example, like graduation, prom. We are committed to having those. We don't know when. But
They're postponed.
We're postponed until further notice, but there will be an opportunity for that to happen for those seniors. And just general questions that the parents might have had about their child or what was going to happen. So we're mailing all of that out. Probably will go out in the mail tomorrow. So look for that in the mail.
Okay. And I would imagine your office, like most others, are probably working from home, or is there anyone answering the phones, or can you get a message if someone were to call the central office with a question or something?
Right now, we have a contact number that they can call in the mailing and also on Facebook
Okay.
for like technology support and
Okay.
everything. However, in our office, we're doing staggered hours because you're limited to 5 people.
Right.
So, for example, nobody's there today because we're doing deep cleaning again in our office because we keep going in and out. It's when you're in a habit of going to work every day, it's hard to break those habits. I have been working from home and being on conference calls for literally 8 hours straight with people, so it's been a different world for me as well. But we're all working kind of like a hybrid model where we're staggering people in the office. If you need to go in, you need to let people know that you're going to be in.
Sure.
So we're just managing it that way.
But if someone were listening to us this morning and didn't have access to a computer or internet and wanted to make a phone call, somebody would get a message and would be able to call them back.
Yeah, they should be able to call in.
Okay. That's my question. So that's
Yeah.
important. But
It
yeah,
would probably go to my number.
probably.
And I'd probably
You're the one. The buck stops with you. That's what happens. Well, Dr. Mizell, I appreciate you coming in this morning
Thank
to
you.
give us an update on what's going on. Let's plan to chat next month if you don't mind.
Okay.
And we can see how things are going in April. But I appreciate you being here.
Okay, appreciate the time.
You're welcome. Thank you. Dr.
Thank
Kim
you.
Mizell,
Thank you.
Superintendent of Schools with the Bloomfield School District, my guest here on KSJE. And I'll be back with more in just a moment, everybody. The time right now is 8:38.
The U.S. needs a lot more hospital beds, fast. Can tech help us build them? From American Public Media, this is Marketplace Tech, demystifying the digital economy. I'm Molly Wood.